During the G20 summit on 9th September, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi successfully navigated diplomatic challenges by softening language regarding Russia, avoiding discussions on Ukraine and fossil fuels, and symbolically passing the presidency to Brazil. However, India missed an opportunity to address worker rights and welfare issues despite the Labour 20 L20 coalition meeting twice in India. The L20 was led by a trade union affiliated with the ruling BJP, urging the International Trade Union Confederation, ITUC, which boycotted the meetings. India could have advocated for the welfare of millions of Indian workers, particularly in the exploitative Arab Gulf, but prioritized politics over workers' interests. Forced labor and modern-day slavery affect millions in India and other G20 countries, highlighting the need for worker rights discussions at such forums to achieve sustainable development goals and eradicate poverty.
Kerala Chief Minister Pinarayi Vijayan's attempt to separate progressive elements of Hinduism from the casteist Sanatana Dharma is misguided. Hindu reformers, including Sri Narayana Guru, never criticized Sanatana Dharma. The essence of Hinduism, according to orthodox opponents of 19th century reform movements, lies in the permanence of ancient textual doctrines over change, but reformers believe dynamism and propensity for reform are the most Sanatana features of Hinduism. Icons like Swami Vivekananda and Subramania Bharati upheld Sanatana Dharma while advocating for change and social reform. Hinduism's essence is continuous renewal and the search for truth, not bound by creed or dogma.
The town of Joshimath in Uttarakhand faced a crisis as reports of land subsidence and cracks in structures prompted residents to flee and seek refuge. This was partly attributed to tunneling activities by the Tapovan Vishnugad power project and concerns about groundwater depletion and faulty construction. The Uttarakhand State Disaster Management Authority commissioned 8 institutions to study land subsidence but initially banned the public dissemination of their findings. The Central Building Research Institute highlighted non-compliance with building codes, emphasizing the need for strict town planning and construction measures to minimize risks. Public awareness and independent scientific counsel should guide sustainable development in hill states.
NASA's OSIRIS-REx spacecraft successfully dropped off a capsule containing around 250 grams of rocks and dust collected from the asteroid Bennu in Utah, USA. Bennu is a carbonaceous asteroid believed to contain clues about the solar system's formation and the compounds necessary for life. OSIRIS-REx, part of NASA's New Frontiers program, aims to expand our understanding of the solar system's history and could inform strategies to prevent potential Earth impacts by asteroids like Bennu. The mission has commercial components related to space mining and impact mitigation but also serves the timeless quest to uncover the origins and fate of life.
India's parliament has passed the Women's Reservation Bill, providing 1/3 reservation for women in the Lok Sabha and legislative assemblies. Currently, India ranks 141 out of 193 countries in terms of women's representation in parliament. However, the implementation of this law is contingent on the next census and delimitation exercise, which may present challenges, particularly for states that have successfully reduced population growth through women's empowerment measures. Real and substantive gender justice, it is argued, will require changing societal approaches to gender roles and addressing the disproportionate burden of unpaid household labor borne by women.
The left parties in Telangana are unhappy with the ruling Bharat Rashtra Samiti (BRS) for announcing candidates for 115 out of 119 assembly seats without consulting them on seat sharing. They had hoped to contest from specific constituencies, but the BRS fielded its candidates in all of them. The left had previously aligned with the BRS in a by-election to counter the BJP but now feel let down. Their declining vote share over the years is evident, with the CPI and CPI-M forfeiting deposits in many constituencies. They are exploring an alliance with the Congress, but the latter has not committed to it yet.
A recent study published in the Lancet Regional Health, Southeast Asia analyzes the health, nutrition, and population trends of scheduled tribes, STs, in India from 2016 to 2021. The study found that although there has been improvement in the health and welfare metrics of STs, disparities persist between Sent and non-Sent populations. In 2021, non-Sent populations outperformed STs in 81 out of 129 indicators, highlighting challenges faced by STs in areas such as child malnutrition, anemia, vaccination coverage, and disparities in fertility and mortality rates. The study emphasizes the need for consistent policy efforts to address these disparities.
The relationship between India and Canada has soared over the Khalistan issue, with former diplomats pointing to the 2010 apology by then Canadian Prime Minister Stephen Harper as an example of necessary change. Harper apologized on behalf of the Canadian government for the 1985 Air India Kanishka Flight 182 bombing carried out by Khalistani separatist operatives. Tensions have risen in recent years due to actions like holding referendums for the Sikh diaspora, posters targeting Indian diplomats, and fating those involved in the Air India 182 bombing. Experts believe a change in Canadian responses to the Khalistan issue is necessary for a reset in ties.
In the Nilgiris district of India, a total of 10 tigers, including 6 cubs and 4 adults, have died since mid-August. The causes of death vary, with some tigers suspected to have died due to starvation, umbilical infections, injuries from fighting with other animals, and even poisoning. Conservationists are concerned about the welfare of the animals and the inability of the forest department to locate the mothers of the deceased cubs. To address fears of poaching, anti-poaching camps are being set up, and measures to monitor tiger populations and enhance protection efforts are being implemented.
Rajiv Bhargav, a political theorist and author, discusses the challenges and evolution of secularism in India. He argues that India's unique form of secularism, characterized by principled distance from religion, is not an aberration but a necessary response to the country's diversity. Bhargav emphasizes that secularism should not be seen as a project solely for minorities but as a means to protect Hindus from their own orthodoxies and extremist elements. He calls for a reimagining of Indian secularism to address not only interreligious domination but also intra-religious issues such as caste and gender domination in an inclusive manner.
Quantum computing holds the promise of solving problems much faster than classical computers, known as achieving quantum supremacy. To demonstrate this, researchers have explored hard problems that classical computers struggle with. Ramis Movasag, a researcher at Google Quantum AI, has shown theoretically that estimating the output probability of random quantum circuits is a hard problem, implying that it would be extremely challenging for classical computers to solve. This work is a significant step towards establishing quantum supremacy, which has implications for fields like cryptography, and it challenges the extended Church-Turing thesis about classical computers' computational abilities.